So today's episode, we're going to look at the recent Challenger 604 crash in Florida, and that's what we're going to be talking about. I'll give you my take on what I think happened this crash. Unfortunately, a couple of people died on this one. But anyway, welcome to Biz Jdet TV. If you've never been here before, my name is Fabrizio Poli. I'm an airline transport pilot and also your aviation advisor and the author of the book, The Quantum Economy. Grab yourself a copy by clicking on the link below, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So let's get into what happened. So this was a Challenger 604, a 2004 airplane operated by Avbuyer, which is a charter company. They were flying from Columbus, Ohio to Naples in Florida. It's an 836 nautical mile flight. It takes about 2 hours, 10 minutes, so it's not a long flight. And as they're coming in to land, the pilots call over the radio saying that they have a double engine failure and they're not going to make the runway. So, question. How on earth did they get a double engine failure? Now, I don't think it was bird strike, because otherwise they would have said so over the radio that they hit birds and that. And usually birds don't cut the engines out completely. They kind of cause problems, but you still have a little bit of power. So that's another thing. And engine failures usually happen between takeoff and initial climb. What happens is you're coming down the runway, you've got most of your full power on, so you either get an engine failure before you lift off, and that's called a high-speed rejected takeoff, or you may get it just as you lift off, as you bring the power back. That's the phase of flight where you get most engine failures. You do get them occasionally in flight. There was a British Airways 747 that had a series of engine failures all in one go because of volcanic ash, but there was no volcano there in Naples, Florida. The weather was pretty good as well, so you know, I couldn't say it was weather related. So the only thing I can think of is it's fuel related. So what does that mean? Either the fuel was contaminated and consequently the engine shut down, or they ran out of fuel. Or the third option would be the airplane was sabotaged and they put something in the fuel tanks to drain the fuel, or they had a fuel leak. That's another possibility. And so the fuel just leaked. The pilots didn't realize and they ran out of fuel and the engine stopped running and they didn't make the runway. Now, they crashed into a car. There were 5 people on the airplane. 2 died. We don't know who died, if it was one of the pilots or both pilots or who died. That's kept secret at the moment. The National Transport Safety Board are on the case, so they're going to be analysing all the data to tell us what happened. But looking at it from a distance, I would say it's fuel related, and I'm sure once the report comes out, they'll tell us exactly what happened. So that's what happened there. Of course, you know, when you're operating a private jet, there's lots of things that you have to consider, fuel being one of them. Now, with private jets, you don't have the problem that some of the airlines do, where, you know, they're really adamant with their pilots that you can only carry a certain amount of fuel, also because these airplanes are a lot bigger. So if you're carrying extra 3 or 4 tons of fuel, you'll end up burning more fuel. That has a cost to them, whatever. With the private jets, what usually happens is you just fill the tanks up and off you go. And that's usually what happens. But again, this was a charter company, so this airplane was on a charter, so they may have had some fuel policy. But I mean, they ran out of fuel because they didn't carry enough fuel, or did they run out of fuel because they had a fuel leak, which is more probable. It was a fuel leak or contaminated fuel. That's my guess on this. But anyway, let's get the conversation going. So tell me what you think. Let's get this in the comments going. If you haven't subscribed to Biz Jdet TV, subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. And if you want to get yourself a copy of the book, click on the link below to get a copy of The Quantum Economy. Lots of information on here about the business of the future and, of course, private jet travel and why it is a valuable business tool for you. So, and if you do post a review of the book and send me an email, I will get on a free one-to-one call with you and work out together the right business jet strategy for you and your business and your family and that. So that's all from me here on this episode of Biz Jdet TV. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out this interview I did recently with the former chief astronaut of NASA, Charlie Precourt, who's also a proud owner of his own private jet, a Citation CJ1 Plus, and he flies around to different gigs that he's got, and also on the board of directors of a number of companies, and so he uses his private jet for business. He'll be talking about that, talking about his experience as an astronaut, talking about pilot training. So it's a very, very interesting interview. If you're an aviation enthusiast or you're thinking of buying an airplane, have a listen to this interview I did with Charlie recently. It's a great one. And also on the link below, you can check into my articles in Avbuyer magazine, which are coming out every month, where I do interviews with pilot entrepreneur owners. And that where they tell the story of how they use their private jet to build their business. And that's all from me here on Biz Jdet TV. That's it. I'm checking out, and I'll see you on the next one. Remember to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you on the next one.